Says Facebook's online, YouTube's coming up.
Yep, just got dinged.
All right. Yep, I did too on Facebook. Sweet. Everyone's getting really quiet now.
Why?
They can hear us. They can't see us. I see Drew Mintz in there already.
Drew's in the house.
Drew won't have any comments on today's show, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And this is cool. I can see in the comments and reactions. So we got a Facebook designation. If anyone were to come in from the YouTube side, I
All
assume
0.
we would have it would show in this software that it's from YouTube. I'm really liking this, Jeff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to ask for the recording after this, just in case I need to go into the president's office and ask for a raise or ask for my job back. It depends on how it goes.
Hi, Kevin. How you doing, bud?
So far, I upgraded my computer to Big Sur this morning. And that's always a mistake on a Refresh Friday. I wasn't thinking that through when I did it.
You did what?
I upgraded to the new Apple Mac OS.
Gotcha. Way to go.
Yeah. But the only thing that seems to be funky is my camera. Anytime we transition, it goes out of focus. So knock on wood. That's okay. Nobody needs to see me.
I'll agree with that.
I do control how you look, Joe.
Uh-oh.
So there's this little hue setting. We can turn you pink, or I can turn you green.
Oh no!
You have like a Joe Smash moment. Green. All right, here we go, kids. It's our first ever technology audit. Well, Joe's here. I figured I'd use the kids word.
Hey.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Always picking on Uncle Joe.
Yep, that's for sure. And here, we can all see John over here. I'll move your website over, John. So, John Vincent is our first, we call him victim, maybe candidate.
Yeah.
He's brave, however you want to put it. He's letting the three of us take a look at his website, and
I think he knew what he was doing.
Tried my best, put my best foot forward, but I feel like my baby might get called ugly, so I'm just preparing myself for that too.
Well, let's just say at the end of this, John's either getting a raise or he's getting fired. So guys, why don't we get this show rolling here? I'm going to throw John's website up so we can all look at it. Move us out of the way as best I can.
John, let me ask you a quick question before we get started. Whenever you're sort of optimizing your site or just building out the content and such, do you build it for mobile first or for desktop?
I do mobile and desktop at the same time. It's really hard. I know I should be doing mobile first, but it's really hard when you're in your website editor and on your desktop, you're staring at your desktop site all the time. So sometimes I put a little bit too much focus on the desktop site, but I always make sure to pull out my phone and check it out too.
Well, I thought you were going to respond the opposite because whenever I was going through and just looking at it through mobile, it's pretty slick.
It's I tried to make it as simple as possible on the mobile site. I only have 3 seconds or so to make sure you stay on my site. So I want to make sure it's pretty easy. Plus, our average car buyer
That's what they
down
say.
here is 60. So if a 60-year-old can navigate my
Oh,
mobile
there you
site,
go.
I'm doing pretty good.
Well, they're not as click. They're not as fast to click off. So maybe you got a few more seconds.
That's true.
Speaking of the first few seconds,
Takes a while to move the mouse or the finger.
speaking of the first few seconds, what do you think, everybody in the gallery? At first glance, what do you see? What's your takeaway?
Well, keep in mind too. Typically, he has a video that plays there in the background, but for whatever reason, on screen share, it doesn't show. But
what would
at the
the
same
video
time,
show, John? Do you mind explaining
Yeah,
it for the audience?
it's just drone. It starts off with drone footage of our inventory and then our dealership, and then it moves over into a shot of walking through our service drive if you were a customer, and then goes into our service lane, and then goes into the car wash just so people know that we washed their car and things of that nature.
All right.
do you ever change that video out?
We have. We haven't had much change. We expanded our service department a little over a year ago, and that's when we changed the video out. But I think I've only had the video background for maybe 2 years. So
Okay.
all the body styles for the Hondas haven't changed that drastically, so you can't really tell what year it's shot anyway.
And John, you don't know anything about dealer.com, right?
Not at all. Not a thing about that.
You have no advantage using a dealer.com website as a working in a dealership.
I could think of a few, but
Do you mind letting everyone know what your background is and why I'm saying that?
yeah. I worked with dealer.com from 2011 to 2014. And East Coast is part of a dealer group that was one of my clients. So, I was a digital advisor, account manager, whatever the acronym is that they are now. That's what I was. And so I have a pretty intimate knowledge of how their system works. So back in 2014, my client, now my boss, sent me an email and said, "I don't know what we need you for, but we know we need someone like you." And 7 years later ish, I still have a job. So that's
Still there.
All right. Well, maybe not after this show. So
Yeah, we'll see.
let's jump right in. So homepage. Joe, I don't know where you want to start from, where you want to take it away at, but we could start at nav. We could start at COVID-19 messaging.
I want to start right at the top.
Okay.
The number one Honda dealer in South Carolina. Nice and bold. You've got the awards icons underneath it. That's a great quality signal that I'm in the right place. Love that. I wished that the icons clicked off to the awards page, but that's okay. No big deal. The menu, I love the menu. It's really well worked. The new car inventory, shop by model, looks strong, easy to navigate.
What's your average inventory, John?
Right now we're kind of heavy. It's between 350 to 500.
Okay.
It was really low there for a little bit, but it's been coming back up. So new cars, used cars, it's anywhere between 250. Right now we're over 400. But all of our used cars are customer trade-ins, so we don't go to auction for cars. Every single one we put a number on and bought.
Solid.
Cool.
Nice to be heavy right now.
Yes, it is.
Really. Most aren't.
Yeah, so the navigation is this is all dealer.com here.
Yep.
And pretty cool that they do show you a count of what you're going to get into. I always did like that feature.
Yeah.
Let's see. Other things that dealer.com does, I think is in the about area. That's right. So form in here and then current hours. I do like that as well.
Yeah. But back to new car inventory, if you could look at new Honda specials, that's people are attracted to that.
Yeah, so with those, I built those because I like them to be just big and in your face. I don't want you to have to try and squint to see what we're doing. And they're static images, but they link to inventory. And then below that, what you're seeing now is Dealer.com's actual specials builder tool. And I just duplicate them because it makes it look like we have a lot of stuff on special. One, and two, if you pull that up on mobile, those Dealer.com specials look really nice on a mobile phone versus a static image.
Now, I wasn't aware that you could click through to those static images up above.
Neither was I. Green button time. Click here.
Yeah. So it should bring you directly there.
Okay.
So let me just go back real quick. So I clicked on the passport, I believe. $309 a month is the ad. And first one up, $387 a month.
Yeah.
Hey, it's lower.
Great.
That's why it's a special. You got to call in and ask for the special. And you're looking at a touring.
That's always a challenge, when you're using the OEM incentive, which of course is typically for most OEMs, that's what you have to advertise. It's the only thing you can advertise,
Sorry.
But then if you have a program that allows you to actually break it down to the dollar, of course you're going to have, inventory that's higher, lower, et cetera. But I don't know if it really hurts that consistent message or not, but it seems to.
I'd like to say, John, and Alex, could you switch the default or the SRP from price low to high? It falls right into place.
Okay.
So big maybe have the default
better. Yeah.
Yeah, low to high.
Also, John, is there a way to control? Is there a way to control the ad that shows at the top? Because we're on passports and this is an Odyssey up here.
Yeah, Dealer.com. I'm not trying to pitch them, but they do have a tool called Experience Optimization. I just don't pay for it. But their Experience Optimization would automatically swap out those specials to be the one to put that whatever car you're looking at and put it right there. It's just an add-on service. I've been thinking about adding it, but right now it's just I go by prioritization inside of their specials. You can prioritize what you want to put first. Right now we're super heavy in Odysseys and we don't sell a lot of them, so I want to make sure anytime someone goes to my site, I don't care what page you're on, I'm going to keep hitting you over the head with my Odyssey special.
Hey, John, the three items above the inventory forced me to scroll down to get to what I want to see. Have you done any click-through analysis to see if anybody's entering information on the SRP for trade pending or for your Odyssey push or for living room equals showroom?
So that living room equals showroom doesn't really go anywhere right now. It's just it's something that they wanted us to try and promote our digital retailing. So I have that there. The click-throughs to the Odyssey and how many trade pendings I'm getting off the SRP, I don't know the answer to that question. So I would just be making it up. But I can go into trade pending and find out how many, because they got really good reporting on their tool and their back end. I could go see where the conversion's taking place, but I don't know.
Gotcha. The studies I've seen, this trade-in is very late in the consideration process. And my gut's telling me, and everybody's got an opinion, but in my case, my opinion is get all every piece of get your inventory up high in the page and get things that slow people down out of the way. Whether there's anything actionable with you on that or not, I don't know. But is there any way to nest any of this into the SRP itself?
Well, maybe there's another way to do it. So there's a lot of real estate being put into 2 banners right here.
Yeah.
And the trade pending form is nice and interactive. It gets things going there. So I personally don't have any argument with that one. But the 2 banners at the top are definitely distracting, especially if I'm on a passport search and not an Odyssey hunt. But what if there was a way to make them smaller? So maybe, I don't know what the pixel height is of these. It looks like it might be like 250, 200, somewhere in that territory. What if it were like 80 and they were buttons side by side, and you could just have a row of buttons across the top that was like other specials or, our buy online, get it at home kind of, experience that would link to another page in your website, which I know you have for that buy at home experience.
No, that's all. That's a good suggestion. The living room equals showroom. I'm very close to taking it away, and now you've kind of just confirmed I don't really need that there. Or I can move it to the bottom of the SRPs. The special, that widget on top of the listings is called a specials campaign banner. I'm not aware of how to make that smaller or bigger. I guess you could, but I personally prefer it to be there. But if Joe has any suggestions on how to measure it with it or without it, that's I'm open to that.
I don't think, like we were talking earlier, I don't think that's going to be something we're going to be able to measure and give us that, how do I say, cover your ass data so you can leave it or not. That's a gut call.
Well, in my just gut feeling, everybody scrolls down to see inventory. Like, it seems, I don't think there's anybody that clicks on the inventory button and goes, "Oh crap, this isn't an inventory page." I'm assuming everybody scrolls down to go see what's there, and then they use the filters and things of that nature. So I'm not too worried about that giant space unless it's, an obscene image or it's a big blinky button or something. But
that's cool.
It's all personal preference.
I would assume that with you as well. I get suggestions like that. We've always, best practices has always been able to make sure the meat of your content is within that first fold. But I don't know. I go back and forth with that as well, John.
Yeah, I'm all for cleaning it up though. So I'm definitely can try it out.
What about the calls to action?
All right, so those. The digital retailing fans aren't going to like this, but my best performing lead is get today's Z-price. That buy it now button, I have to have it, but I would much rather have you hit get today's Z-price, because once they hit that buy online button, they either get scared or whatever, but I only get 10 or 15 full complete deals versus, 200, 250 get today's E-price leads. And I'd much rather have 250 E-price leads that sell 10 cars than 15 forms that sell 10 cars. That's just how I think. And so that's why those are there. The at-home test drive, that was something that came out of COVID, out of necessity. And since adding it, I don't see the need to get rid of it, because when someone does fill that out and we do end up delivering the car to them, the closing ratio on those leads just shoots through the roof. And then the what's my car worth? That's there because it goes right to trade pending. And again, trade pending is one of my top performing sources. If it's a form lead that comes in off my site that's closing in the double digits, then I'm not getting rid of it. As soon as it drops into 5-6%, it's just a distraction, or it's not getting used enough and it's getting cut.
So when so I totally agree with you. The buy online is too strong of a call to action, and I think it's one of the reasons why so many digital retailing tools aren't getting the action. But at the same time, some of these digital retailing tools, when you go into the tunnel, that's a little much for somebody who might, who's really on your website because they're trying to figure out how soon can I get this car and how much is it for me? Now you're saying just buy the car. It's like without answering any of that yet. So they're just not ready. So buy online, a little too strong.
Well, and typically, I don't know how you have it set up or how Honda makes you set that up. You usually have a lead gate there where the customer has to fill out the form before they can even get to the next step.
Honda,
it may be
Honda has
interesting.
that, so you can't even even mess around with payments or anything. So on this Honda site versus my other sites that I use a different digital retailing tool on, they can use the payment calculator function without having to give me any of their info. So when I do get their info, then I know they're super engaged because they've already gone down the funnel and the leads at the end, not the beginning.
Do you have a report for an abandonment rate on that button, or at least be able to see how many people are clicking on the buy online? Because then maybe you could take that total number and back out how many of your leads you're getting in order to figure. And it'd be really nice to know, okay, how many people click on the buy online? This comes up. They're like, no deal. And then they go to the e-price.
Right.
Yeah.
I
don't know if there's a way to track that.
Add that to my notes.
Like that's one thing that I try to think about when I look at a website is, am I answering the two questions or making it as easy for the customer to come ask me those questions of how soon can I get this car? And again, how much is it for me? And the how much is it for me is an interesting one because I've always felt like the e-price button was just telling the customer, come negotiate with us. These aren't our real prices, and sort of sets things up for just giving gross away. Yeah, it's not how any other website works in retail. So.
I think it depends on how you handle that. I can agree with you there,
but if you look at what I have, it says don't pay MSRP. Like I literally tell them, don't pay this price. Click this e-price button because I want their info and I want to get that information from them and then move them into the road to the sale, and they might end up paying that price or more if they pay full sticker with addendum.
So do you give the customer a price once they click on that?
No, we don't give prices away.
To do it.
Okay.
This is an idea for that. So this is how Preston Honda does it. They just mark it out. Yep. It's you definitely, that catches your attention for sure. Yeah, because I didn't even see the don't pay MSRP. I just saw the $37,000.
Well, I think it's because, what John's stating earlier, you've got a process built around this. Of course you like to gross on your vehicles. So getting that e-price, you're saying that once you do get that lead into the CRM, you're not actually giving that customer a price, but you have a strong enough process that you're able to get that customer, to respond. You're building some type of relationship. And now you can get them into the dealership. I want to say that's a unique way of doing it. But if you've got a strong enough process behind that call to action and it works for you, I guess the question would be, what's your closing ratio on those particular leads, actual, lead to show and show to close?
On a new car e-price lead, I'm closing at 20%.
Damn.
So,
okay.
Well, see, there you go. You have a process at the dealership built around that particular call to action.
Yeah, it's just training the guys, letting them know just because the customer asks for a price, that's the only question they know how to ask. Right. That's the first question they're always going to ask is price. That doesn't mean they want the best price. That's just the first question they've been trained to ask you.
It's their door opener.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, and it's because they have a lot of other questions that are complex and nuanced, and they got to start somewhere. That's cool.
But yet, if you put a contact us call to action on there, your leads will drop.
Yeah.
Correct.
Not strong enough.
Yeah. But you're right. The consumer's been conditioned for 20 years that, the main call to action is get your e-price or get your internet price, whatever, around price.
Can we talk about the 2 call to actions underneath the image on the SRP? Save this car and get price alerts. John,
sure, Joe.
You have nothing to do with those, do you, Joe?
Just a patent or two. So, Big John, do you work that channel? Do you get many people either saving the car or getting price alerts or signing up for it?
So when you go into your dealer.com analytics, it will by default count leads as my cars, and you have to back those out of your report. So I can see how many that I get, but on new cars, specifically for this new Honda store, and our Volkswagen store, it's completely different. But on my new Honda cars, I'm not updating the price of the cars every 3 weeks to 30 days because incentives changed. So I don't go in and look and see that, okay, well, this car's been saved 7 times. If I just knock this price down real quick because the incentive just came out, 7 people are going to get an email. On my Honda store, if I'm being, honest, I don't look at the engagement of that probably as much as I should.
Obviously, you're the big fish in your market. How much bigger are you than your next Honda store?
Inventory wise, there are some stores that might have more than us at a given time.
Really?
Yeah. So there's some up in Greenville, South Carolina that'll carry 500 cars, but we're right there at the top. But I just, I'm not trying to get you to go back to my homepage, but I'm really proud of it because I like to just show the customer like, hey, we're number 1 in the States since 2016, but I'm also like, I made up we're the highest car rated dealership in Myrtle Beach, but it sounds good to me, and I have over 2,000 5-star reviews. So I want you to see that immediately. So
just depends on who you ask.
Just for the record,
photos, by the way, with the holding up the sign, that's great.
That's strong, and he's done a really good job of telling his why buy message all over the site. It's everywhere. It's one of the best examples. Speaking of that car on a truck, for the record, if you Google Carvana in your market, which is Myrtle Beach, they have 3.3 stars on Google. So you are crushing it.
I have a page on my site that tells everybody why we're better than Carvana and CarMax too. But
oh wow,
we just really don't like to. We're not a fan of them. Let's put it that way. We're the someone has asked the question. We're the number 1 Honda dealer volume. Sorry, it doesn't say number 1 volume Honda dealer, but we're just the number 1 Honda dealer volume wise and rating wise, and all the other intangible stuff.
According to my grandma, you're the number 1 Honda dealer, and
we're the best in the country. Damn it, because I said so.
It's all right. I want to say to the audience,
I'm actually just hung up on Joe's grandma for a minute here.
What do you got?
Never mind. Go ahead, Joe.
Okay, Alex.
But if you look around, if you go down to let's go to used inventory.
By the way, you got a shout out from Rick Buffkin about your glory photo.
What do you mean?
Your first photo, your thumbnails.
Oh,
he likes them.
Oh, thank you.
Now it looks like you're using the. Sorry, Joe. It looks like John, you're using the service that does sort of like an overlay or a background.
Yeah, HomeNet offers that, and We negotiated with HomeNet, so we pay one price for all 4 of our stores. So it's a little bit more management, but I get that for a steal of a deal. I think I pay $100 a month, and they background the first 3 photos of every car I have.
Yeah, they're gonna hate you for just mentioning that.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm going into photo territory here. Direct me.
Yeah, that makes my eye go crazy. All the words on the second image, my mind blew up when I saw that. Where's the car?
Yeah,
it's right there.
Yeah, it's to the left and to the right of you.
Yeah.
What would you suggest, Joe? Maybe placing that a little bit deeper into the in line.
Yeah, I love the idea of having the Dan Sawyer calling HomeNet now. Oh, that's awesome.
Get them to fix this image. It's a little pixelated.
I don't know. So the why buy message works well if somebody's deep in the experience, because they this is the one, and to have it up front too early is like a little. It gets in the way of me looking at the car. That's all.
I got you.
Dan, we're not sophisticated enough to do the mobile display right now. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe dealer.com is seamless, so you can't just shrink the window down right here and get close to it.
Yeah, I personally, and this is just my personal preference, I love that about it, because then I can actually build my mobile site the way I want it, versus my desktop and mobile site pretty much have to have the same order of every single widget. I like being able to go in and just rearrange the widgets on each platform as I want them, add or remove them.
I get that.
Yeah, I come from the other school, but actually with responsive websites, just to make it clear, you can set different widgets the same way that dealer.com does it seamless. So there really isn't an advantage to either technology anymore.
Cool.
John, have you messed around with your call to actions? Just whether it's on the used car or new car, have you changed the verbiage around those lately, or knowing you, I'm sure you have just in the past, and you're sticking with what works.
Yeah, it's more towards the latter. I did used to have something on there that was like get pre-qualified, and that would never really do much.
Yeah.
I mean, the financing button, get financing here, and get pre-qualified, I had those on there, but I got rid of it. I think it's asking for too much up front. I like the ease of access of, the at-home test drive is just it's the e-price button reworded as at-home test drive. It's the same exact thing,
Different
Does that come into the CRM differently, so that the customer clicked on home test drive versus?
Yes.
Okay.
So that video at the bottom is the why buy message, and I wish all dealers would come back to East Coast Honda and take a lesson out of the page that John and company have done. It's brilliant. It's at the bottom of the VDP where it belongs. I'm a shopper. I love this car, and I'm looking for some reason to buy it or not to go to this dealer, to go or not to go. Just brilliant.
Which one are you talking about?
So you want to go to the details page?
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah, sorry, that looks like it was shot through a potato, but it works.
So you put the why buy message throughout the experience, and it's just brilliant. And I wish more of us in our industry did that. Alex, could you go shopping for a used SUV with third row under $400 a month?
While he's doing that, John, I have a question for you. I see you've got the trade pending, and you've got that over into a small table on the right-hand side, actually on the VDP. Do you have any reports around how well that works? I like that idea. I don't know if your reports.
I could go in there and go pull it, but the guys at Trade Pending are going to kill me. But I don't go into their back end tool as much as I should. All I know is that they can report out on each individual widget, where it is, where it gets used, desktop, mobile, what have you. But yeah, I don't have reporting on that. I just know it's one of my top performing lead sources. So I figured I'd just plaster it everywhere. And
your process at the dealer.
I've seen people have too, is that shop by body style button. I wish you could just click on it and have it go somewhere, but you have to check it off and then hit search. That's something I wish I could change.
What were the other instructions, Joe? I think I finally found the.
Yeah, under $400 a month, in third row.
Third row.
And then
$400 a month.
Yeah.
Hold on. Render. There we go.
Cool.
I hate these sliders.
You can type in it.
Yeah, I know. But I'm running a stream right now. It's not so easy.
You're a minute 30 seconds into this, just for the record.
I started up here, and that didn't go anywhere. And then
I saw that.
I did struggle with this because I was thinking I'd click that, and it would just take me into SUVs. But I got to click that and then go one more time.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So we've got the sort by price, or you can just.
How would you guys default sort this used car page? That's something I've always just wondered. What do you do? Do you put your Hondas up there first, or do you what would you recommend? Like lowest to highest, make, model? Is there anything reported on that?
So I'll offer a philosophy. Geez, can't speak. So, which isn't going to help you with this answer. So, there are two kinds of people shopping for cars: those who know exactly what they want, and those who are searching for an idea. So, to Joe's point, this shopping experience he asked me to do was, I want an SUV, and I want it in a particular budget range. I want a certain feature, and it's exactly how my wife shops. Give me an SUV with a third row because we've got kids, and she has to have a moonroof, and then she gets her budget from me. So then she goes out shopping and comes back, and it's like, okay, there's Volkswagens, there's Fords, there's all kinds of stuff. And then there's car guys like you and me who say, I want a Honda Pilot. And, my budget will flex if, based on quality. So how do you do something for both types of buyers? That's a more difficult conversation.
It's all about the search experience. If you just allow them to dial it in, and that's what I see here. It's that left bar. Oh, by the way, Lisanne says aged first. I would do whatever the shopper wants first, not age. So in a beautiful, there you go, Chad. I'm with you on that one. Low to high. In used cars, got
another one from Chris Leslie. So there you go.
There you go. Biggest discount.
Some good ideas.
Low to high.
I would like to throw something out your way, John. I'm trying to do a study right now I'm looking at leads sent versus the car they bought. And how often is it 1-to-1, and how often is it that the VIN on the lead they sent is not the car they bought?
Well, I can tell you right now, if you go to my cars under 10,000, I think I've got 50 to 70 of them.
Wow.
So if you submit a lead on my $5,000 Nissan Rogue that I have, I could pretty much guarantee you're not buying that Nissan Rogue. It just depends on what the price of the car is. The car's under 10 grand. They're just like, just get me done on a car that moves.
Right.
Get me financed on. If it's a $35,000 Escalade that we had in stock, then it might be, that's pretty much what they wanted. If it's a certified pre-owned CRV, then yeah, they might go from Mountain Air Blue over to White Frost Champagne Pearl, but that's kind of just, it depends. I wouldn't know the exact percentages, but I would say that probably fluctuates highly on the initial selling price of the car.
Right. Let me ask the same question another way. Of the shoppers that walk into your store, first visit, how many of them say, I'm looking for stock number 1, 2, 3, 4? I'd like a test drive.
When they call in or when they walk in?
Walk in.
Rarely.
Exactly. So what it is our websites suck. That's why they walk in with so many questions. The cars are so complex, and the questions they ask are so nuanced that they cannot come up with a clear piece of evidence to say, this is the one. So what they do is they take their basket full of questions and they walk into the store, and then they start to pick up where they left off. Why can't I get this one with a moonroof? Or can you find me one like this that's got less miles? Those are a consumer comes to the store as an extension of their internet shopping.
There's some good things here though. And actually I just want to be clear that most of what we're talking about here seems to be a website provider kind of thing. And, but anyway, and I'm going to point some of that out too. So being able to show off the packaging, and then what was the pricing of that when it was new. Although I'm assuming that was the price when it was new. It'd be nice if that was a little more clear. But having all these little icons here to direct your eye towards things, what are kind of those great features that would make an X5 stand out from another X5 or another vehicle?
I think it'd be great if you could get those superlatives a little bit higher up on the page.
Exactly what I wanted to say. Those highlighted features are the things that cause shoppers to say, oh, there it is. Finally, backup camera, leather, and third row for the price I can afford. Yeah.
So a little birdie just told me that my trade pending leads, 41% of them are on the VDP that you're seeing right there. 11% are on the SRP, and 39% are on the landing page, which means they go to the they click on what is my car worth, and that brings them to that page. So, Bryce just sent it in anyway. So,
the birdie of Bryce.
Josh Cole just weighed in. He says 90+% of his ups show up in the dealer knowing what stock number they want. That's news to me. Well, and I'd love to hear more about that.
You've got different marketplaces that could be in effect. I believe, and am I making a wrong assumption, John, that your real estate is really good? You're in a pretty well located part of town.
Well, we're in Myrtle Beach, so we're in the Redneck Riviera down here. It's great. Yeah, we're just south of it. We're 2 miles from the ocean. We're in a pretty good spot. I mean, if you've been to South Carolina, there's really only 2 roads that go through Myrtle Beach, and we're on the main one. So it's a good spot to be on.
Yeah. So if you're a destination store, you're usually not the top of mind first search that the customer does. So they find you because they might have already figured it out, and now they're doing comparisons.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the difference. So if you've been in the marketplace a long time, you got a good piece of real estate that people are driving past quite a bit, or are you out by yourself in your own part of town that doesn't have the same kind of drive-by traffic?
Are you a destination store or a drive-by?
No, you'd have to come. You'd. Well, it depends. You'd have to come. You have to come to us. If you're in Myrtle Beach, we're another 10 miles south of that. But we've got.
What's
We
your
try and
what's your
advertise
top
that we're
of
the
mind
largest.
awareness for your brand, John?
Yeah, people know us. We've been here for over 20 years, 25 years. We like to say that our used cars are our best kept secret, but we're trying to advertise that the most, more and more. But we have, 400 used cars in stock right now. So people find us, and we're blessed in the fact that we're the only Honda store within 60 miles, 75 miles. So people cross shop us every now and again. I mean, well, they probably cross shop us every single time, but at the end of the day, they have to, they're going to come to us. That's our customer to lose, not our customer to win, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. That the way I'm reading your website experience, that's why I asked if you're the big fish and how much bigger you are to your nearest competitor. And it sounds like you're the other big fish is many, many, many miles away.
Correct.
So
Honda wise.
when you're the big fish, you do everything differently because you have such great selection, and that great selection is magic to a shopper. They can have a very productive visit. So that's pretty cool. So
yeah.
Well, where should we go next?
Well,
Joe?
also, something that we don't mention is it also has an effect on your closing ratios. Whether it's internet or phone.
Definitely.
If you're a small store, you absolutely got to fight to drag that guy in or gal and get them in to see units that match their search criteria. But if you're a big dog, you got 22 in 7 colors or 57 in 7 colors. It's not a fair fight. So when you're small, you just have to work harder for the sale.
Yeah.
Well, and by the way, I just want to point out one more time before we move on to the next section of John's website. There's a lot more good than bad going on here. So I hope that nobody's listening and thinking that we're just like pounding the hell out of this, because we're really picking on little nitpicky things here.
I got one that bothers the hell out of me.
Here we go.
Alex, the resolution on your screen is smaller than mine. Could you increase the resolution to have the column fill up 3/4 or more of the browser?
That's part of the software we're using to stream this, Joe, and that's also why I am not pulling up the mobile version of this site, Dan Sayer.
Got it. So the call to actions with the question, the chat call to actions and the text us. Is that selling you cars, John?
Yes.
Sure is a pain in the ass to wrestle. As I'm looking through the cars, I'm always having to adjust it so that the blocks aren't blocking the products. But it's working for you.
Yeah.
Just get a larger monitor, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, you can close it, but honestly, I've tested with, hey, I only want you to show the chat tool once and then just disappear, like that pop-up window, but I prefer I want it to keep hitting you over the head until you force close it, So I know it might not be the best user experience, but at the end of the day, I'm using my site to get leads. I know it's my 24/7 showroom, but I want you to come to my site and convert to give me a chance to earn your business because you're contacting me. I don't want you to get on my site like, this is the best site ever. I didn't have to submit any of my information. I'm sure I'm wrong in thinking that way, but that's the way I approach it is, hopefully you came to my homepage, saw all our happy customers and all our Google reviews. You're on a VDP, you saw our Google reviews, and I earned your trust enough for you to finally give me your information. But if not, my chat tool is going to keep bugging the heck out of you. and they're not going to answer any questions.
You're a very lead. You've got your website set up as a very lead conscious website. You're going after conversion 100% all the time.
I think that's what they're for. Personally.
There you go. So I never go to any website saying I can't wait to send in a lead so I can figure out what to pay for this.
You must be one of those 97%ers, Joe.
Yeah. So Big John, so how much of your sales connect to a lead? All leads. Do you know? I mean, I'm sorry, it's an off the cuff question.
How many leads did we sell last month?
What's the share of in your total sales volume? How many of them trace to a lead?
About 30% to 40%. We sold 112 cars off the internet last month, and we sold 367 total.
Jesus. Wow.
And we don't have a BDC. Our internet reps work cradle to grave.
What's the percentage of those sales outside your AOI? Do you know?
Wilmington, North Carolina is out of our AOI, and we'll sell across the border is North Carolina, and that's technically not our assigned area, but we'll sell 20 to 40 cars outside of there. Florence is the next biggest city up the road. Lots of used cars go there. Georgetown. So
would you say most of those sales are from internet inquiries?
That and phone ups. You're not getting in your car and driving 2 hours just to go see what I have without calling me first.
Okay.
Right. Just as a share, like when you're the big fish, everything goes your way. The 30+% closing ratio. I love that ultra surface, by the way. That 30% closing ratio.
Well, it's not 50% closing. It's 30% of our business. But yeah, I wish it was 30%.
My bad. Right. 30% of your business connects to a lead. Dealer.com did a study of 660,000 sales, and the ratio of sales that were created from leads was 7.5%. So you're 3x, dude. No, you have something special going on there, bro. You have some secret sauce going on. There's nobody that I know of. Josh Cole, speak up. I know of nobody whose ratio of sales generated from leads is in the 30 to 40% range. That's just my take.
I thought
we were mediocre, but
yeah, that's typically what we are, Joe. But it's typically what we are here at this dealership. But again, different scenario. Being a high-end dealership is going to be a little bit different. The scenario that is sort of the same is, as John's pointed out, he's a Honda dealership that has what you said, a good hour or so before you get to the next Honda dealership. And I fall into that situation as well. What's a little bit different is once you get past that hour, especially if you're heading east, then you're going to run into 10, 12 dealerships of the same OEM. So, but typically we're, 30% of our sales do come from internet leads. And that's not counting phone.
Yeah, no, that's not counting the phone either.
From an internet source.
I just want to say, we started out our conversation, and this was supposed to be a website audit, and I thought we were going to find things to talk about for you. What I'm seeing here is a demonstration of excellence. It's what you're doing is you're twisting every knob. You're making everything possibly available to achieve the business goals that you're aimed after.
He found one of my ugly pages. Yeah, that one's old.
That's okay. I love so there's a couple of things you're doing on the service side that I love. Nope. Sorry, I don't want to give you my location. God, I hate how websites do that.
Yeah.
So I love this idea though. Here's $20 services. That's great. There's a couple of little nuggets in here that are pretty cool. I also like the upselling disinfectant for $30. That's a good move too.
Yeah, if you go to our service appointment page, like that's the service index page for dealer.com for anybody that's on dealer.com, and just build a custom form. So instead of having to use X time or whatever, that form comes with your site, and just build a custom one. And our 60 to 70-year-old blue hair customers, they love that thing. They use it. They use it all the time. It's simple to use. They don't have to go punch their phone number in, look up their account, and do all this other stuff. It's straightforward.
Yeah.
It's right
You
there.
do your own mobile
Right,
as
and-
well.
Like what do they know? Like when you send somebody into one of these service schedulers and there's all these op codes and things like, there's like 4 levels of oil changes. What the hell one should I touch? What should I click? I don't know.
Well,
Yeah, no,
and
this
you're going to call to confirm the customer's appointment anyways, and that at that time is
Right.
typically when you're going to truly set the appointment. You're going to upsell on the phone if you can, etc.
Yeah, and they have to go pick. They have to scroll through some upsells already. Like they have to pick. Do you want your car disinfected? Do you want a detail package? Do you want any of this other stuff? You have to manually select yes or no, and you'd be surprised sometimes someone selects, yeah, I want my car disinfected. Why not? Yeah, no, I want the ultra, detail package. Well, if you put those two together, I just made $200 and you haven't come into the store yet.
Yeah. So have you used any of the online scheduling services prior to this?
We have the Y Advisor at our Chrysler store, and we just installed X Time at our Volkswagen store. I have another Honda store that also uses X Time, but this store out of our group obviously is the heavy hitter in the group, and we don't see us moving away to X Time anytime soon.
That's interesting. Yeah. That's
In the last
good
few minutes,
information.
in the last few minutes, if anybody in the audience has any questions that you'd like to air out.
Oh, so Rick Buffkin has been asking quite a few around your conversion rates. It's up to you if you want to share that or not, obviously. But first one is lead conversion on the site.
Well, do you want me to give you the percentage of every single possible lead the customer could have done, as in like chat, trade pending, and e-price, or just individual? Because if you add those all up, it's about 3%, 3.5%. And that's not including phone calls. I'm not smart enough to figure out how to get dynamic number insertion to talk to Google Analytics. So I don't know what the conversion is on that, but if I added them all up and removed it, it's about 3.5%.
Rick Buffkin is a bit of a GA genius. That might be worth catching up with him outside of the show later.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we'll get something started over in the forums. Of course, we always publish a recording of the video over there. Yeah. So if there's any additional questions, we can make sure they get asked over there. And John, of course, you're always on DealerRefresh, so you can jump in and respond.
John,
I'm glad I can contribute instead of being a lurker for the last 5 years.
I just want to, as we're getting close to the 2:00 hour, there's 4 minutes left.
Yeah, because we could do this for 2 hours.
Easy.
Yeah.
Easy. So when you play this back for the boss, what's the verdict, everyone? Should John be fired or should he get a raise?
He should get a raise.
Thumbs up. Raise? All right, cool.
Yep.
Good.
I don't know how much he's making already.
Can always ask
high volume. Exactly. So, Alex, what's I know for me something that I got from this, and I've always been back and forth, and this sort of didn't come down to critiquing the website and such, but it's a service scheduler.
Yep.
Because I've always we've been through many different service scheduling, online service scheduling services. The one that I liked the most back in the day, it no longer exists. And
Was that
I've
Time
toyed
Highway?
around. No, it wasn't. Not at all. It was the old Dominion auto revenue service scheduling piece. And right now I've been testing back and forth with, just going back to a plain form. And because what I found, what typically most of our service appointments are now scheduled through the text. We've got options set up around that. And the online service scheduling appointments, it's almost down to a very, very small number of percentage of customers engaging with that. However, when I've replaced it with the normal simple form, they bounce back up.
Make it easy, right?
Yeah. I mean, to your point, like you said, you're going to call this customer anyway and confirm their appointment. So
Yeah.
why do you need a service scheduler if your service girls already have blue screen up scheduling out work anyway, and they got to call and schedule the customer? Save yourself $3,500 a month and use your free form.
Yeah. Of course, the OEM won't tell you that.
No.
The OEM doesn't watch Refresh Friday. Well, some of them do. Some of them do. They don't comment though.
I'm surprised how little I found that gave me the gag reflex, bud. Well done.
Thank you.
If I were to summarize the things that I would, just from my seat, the VDP hot options, elevate them. The second image with the that's filled with text. I don't know how many people actually read that. Default sort.
I think they're great. Especially if you have your vehicles on third-party listing sites.
Yeah, those export
now. I think the thing to capture around that is, does it really matter? Is there some level of importance on where you set those? Is it photo 5? Is it photo 2? Do you have more than one? But using that area as a why buy whenever you're exporting to your third party, they can be somewhat persuasive.
Yeah.
And I know Alex keeps saying that you should use. Alex keeps saying you should put a QR code in there.
I'm coming around on that, Jeff. All right. I'm not going to give you crap for it as much as I used to.
Dude, I was joking around, but yeah, making a comeback.
They do kind of make a little sense to put on a VDP or something, because I have watched people take their phone from their desktop and go from the QR.
I've caught myself doing that. Yeah.
And then walk away from the computer.
I've caught myself. I've done it myself a few times with, within different retail environments.
Yeah, I do really like this. To your point, Joe, the highlighted features. It was too bad we couldn't get it in place when you and I worked there. We tried so hard, but it's good to see they're now there. Yep.
Yeah. All right, dude. Yeah, it's just
so what you're saying, Joe, is this was more of an example of who's really doing everything right versus we pretty much had to find little things to nitpick on.
This is a shining star. This is a good shit. This is how you do it. The commitment to the video that's all over the site, the message, it all this commitment adds up to an astronomically high closing rate. With the penetration of leads to sales it can all map back to the size of the inventory and the commitment you've made to the why buy message. The whole thing is just done so well.
Another walk away for me is, and this is something I've tried to reinforce, is, you've built your website and you've built your call to actions based on your process at the dealership. You've got OEM saying, design it this way. You got to have this. You got to have that. But the reality is, depending on the process and how well and how strong you are at that process at the dealership, actually has an influence on how you're going to design your website and what call to actions you're going to have.
Yeah, there was some argument at first when we put don't pay MSRP on there, because we're going to start losing gross. But then we kind of backed into it, and I said, look at how many e-price leads we sold where we didn't give a price out. Look versus the ones where we did give a price. So if we're selling these cars, and we're not giving a price unless the customer's didn't ask for it. If you haven't spoke to the customer on the phone and you haven't, had a long conversation and they're still beating you over the head for the price, then yeah, there's those exceptions. But, we just decided that, build rapport and get that customer in the door. And e-price is the first thing that's the only question they know how to ask at first. And it goes back to the first thing I said. Everybody's trained to, what's the best price? Just give me your price. And if you want that, you're going to give me your info and we're going to have a conversation.
Yeah.
Good deal.
You should try switching them to payments sometime. They're at the door.
Yeah.
John,
that's an
we
upgrade
definitely
session.
we appreciate you submitting your website for us to do. I guess this was our first one, of course, that we've done this. This has been fun.
Yeah. I appreciate it, guys. I got a whole page worth of notes of stuff that I'm going to go try and go fix. So if you're hesitant about them tearing apart your site, just, spend the whole 24 hours before they bring you on making it look nice. And then, no, but that was great. I really appreciate it, guys.
Well, and you can only get to, within an hour's time, you'd be surprised at how little that you can dive into. So.
Yeah.
Yep.
And one other thing, John, the comments that were coming through were some real strong ones. Drew, George Nenny, Rick, there's some great feedback.
Jim K. I'll never pronounce your last name.
Really? Oh, did I say it wrong?
Nope. And we got a Clark Kogan and Carlito. Well, I'm not going to go through and name everyone, but I like where you're going there, Joe. So again,
cool.
Last time, John gets a promotion.
There we go.
That's the moral of the story. All right. Until
All
next
right,
week, everybody.
All right. Thank you all.
Good seeing you, Joe. See you guys.
Good luck surviving Friday the 13th.
That's right.